Welcome. And it is time to breathe again on the latest Breath of Fresh Air webcast streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. So, along with Patrick Brackett, I am Charles Taylor. And Patrick, let's start with the Olympics. I guess a review show for the Olympics. And before we get to some of the shout outs for the great performances, the stories that broke out, just memorable performances. Maybe it's the opening and closing ceremonies of the Olympics, which were pretty cool to see, actually. But what I wanted to jump into before we do those shout outs is there seems to be a complex with us. And when I say us, I mean us as Americans. Now, look, I'll be the first one to say we live in the greatest country in the world. Now, we can discuss whether there are some aspects that are third world. We can discuss.
Yeah.
We can
Government.
discuss. We can discuss if we are divided as a country, which we are heavily divided as a country. But if we take a step back and look at the rights and the freedoms we do get to enjoy every day, that's not happening in most other countries, where you don't have the resources to get food, to get water, and enjoy some of the finer things in life, whatever the finer things are in your definition. But when you look at some of the coverage, particularly when you're looking at sports like basketball or like swimming or maybe even gymnastics, there seems to be a complex of if something was close. So remember the two basketball games, for an example, men's and women's final, US and France. France played well in both cases. The women almost beat us.
Yeah.
Like they had us down.
That was a good game too.
It was. And I mean, they had us down by 10 points in the third quarter. And I mean, going back into the men's for the semifinals, Serbia had us down by 17 points. Now, you and I had said, Patrick, if they're going to win, they need to play. It's not going to be a walk in the park. It's not going to be one of these things that just because we're America, we're going to win because we're America. These countries are out here. They're playing for their country. They have pride just like we do. And if we're going to win, we better show up. And if that happens, so with Serbia almost beating us in the men's side, with the women from France almost beating us on the women's side. Too many times it goes to what is wrong with the American side. How did it come too close? Can we give credit to these other countries, man? There's actually other good people in this world. It's not just America and everybody else. This is a whole wide world.
And on top of that, these other countries do have professional sports in their countries. And on top of that, even another added layer, some of those players play in America. So they're used to playing these players on a day-to-day basis. I mean, like you look at Canada, France, and Serbia, and South Sudan. All of those are four major countries that are on the men's side that have starting lineups that could play against the United States. So it's not the United States and just everybody else. Maybe back in the 70s or 80s, late 80s, early 90s. Yeah, maybe.
Definitely going back to the Dream Team days or the original.
Absolutely. Going back to the Dream Team. Absolutely. Because then it really kind of was America and everybody else. Because, France only had like one or two players. Now France has like 9 that can play in the NBA. And if you don't play in the NBA over there, you're playing in the G League or something like that overseas. So, these countries are not far off. I mean, on anything. I mean, like you even go to the track and field. You know, it used to be Ethiopia and Jamaica and Kenya. Now you can add the Netherlands and what's the other one? Italy and France is all part of that now. I mean,
especially with those long distance races for sure.
Yeah, I mean, and then this girl. Shout out
Alfred?
to who?
Alfred? Julian?
No,
Alfred?
Safan Hassan, the girl from the Netherlands, who set an entire bar that people are going to have to take consideration now. Nobody has ever done a 5,000 meter, a 10,000 meter, and a marathon all in the same Olympics. Here's the caveat to that. Nobody has ever did a marathon and race in the track and medaled in both. She medaled all 3 times, and including getting the gold in the marathon. That woman ran 40 miles in the past 2 weeks. 40 miles herself in 2 weeks. I'm like, you know, shout out to her. I mean, she set an entire bar that I don't know if anybody's going to be hitting anytime soon. You know what I'm saying? So,
sorry. Go ahead, Patrick. I'm sorry.
Just one more thing. So these other countries are now, they're bringing it, and it was honestly, you know, Usain Bolt, like huge shout out for what he has done for the Olympics, but it's crazy now that he's gone how competitive track and field is now, especially on these 100 meters, 200 meters, and the 400 meters. I mean, that was insane. My favorite part. I'm glad the Olympics is over because I'm tired of watching them. Sorry, I am tired of watching the Olympics because that's all that was on my TV. It was so fun watching them. But these other countries are bringing it, man. They are bringing it every single day, and it was awesome to watch. Second place getting world and Olympic records, and first place getting world and Olympic records, and everybody's like, "Well, she set the world record." Yeah, so did second and third place too, but you know, he's gonna get credit for it because he came in and won. These people are killing it out there, so I loved it. I thought it was great.
You talk about track and field, so those sprints, speaking of our country, we're supposed to dominate those. But in the 100 for the women, you had a woman from St. Lucia, Julian Alfred. Now, she's a Texas alum too, so yeah, shout out.
And shout out to St. Lucia for winning. That was their first medal they ever won.
Yes,
and good for her. She'll never have to pay for anything ever again.
No, and she pulled away. I mean, that race. I mean, considering it's the 100 meters, it wasn't close. She pulled. and then in the 200 meters for the men, a dude from Botswana won it. A country in Africa won it. Tebogo. And I mean, this is just going back to what we've been talking about to start off this show. These countries are coming. They are bringing it. And we, as Americans, we tend to go to what we know and what's being broadcast in this country. Mm-hmm. Fair enough. Get it. I mean, television, whatever other influencers and influences are out there to tell you, hey, look out for this American, that American. Get it. Understand. But these other countries, they have athletes too. They have people who train hard all their lives. I mean, these things are going on every 4 years. So they're bringing everything to that training. And there is a lot of pride on their side as well for their country. So,
hey, how about the 22-year-old kid from Norway who won the decathlon, which is actually supposed to be an older sport about men that are older. He's 22 years old and dominated that sport. You know what I'm saying? From Norway. Or, you know, and I got to give the shout out to America too. Hey, shout out to America for
we represent it too. Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, not even representing. but acknowledging the fact that, you know, even as us that watch TV and we're seeing it from that perspective, look at what America's doing. They brought a 16-year-old kid who struggled his first leg in that 400, the 4x400. He struggled in his first leg. Then the second time he came out, he won gold.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to him. 16 years old, but at least at America, like this is what we were talking about last week when we were talking about the men's soccer team and how, look, if you plan to win, you better bring it. And we're not bringing it when it comes to men's soccer, but we're bringing a 16-year-old kid going, hey, look, we know you're the future of this race. We know, or this sport. We're getting you the experience today. So we're going to hit this up before you start school, going into his sophomore year or junior year or whatever he is in high school. And he's already a gold medal Olympian. So, hey, look, if track and field's seeing it, I don't know why our soccer ain't seeing it. And these countries, like we've been saying, they're bringing it. They are bringing it, and it is awesome to watch. These countries that's never medaled, getting medals. You see that one girl from the Netherlands when they did the mixed 4x400?
Yeah.
Dude, Netherlands was like 10 seconds behind. She got that fourth leg as anchor. Man, America was like, oh, we got this. And she goes,
and see, now, and so on that note, Patrick, remember in that 4x400 relay in the semifinals, we set a world record.
Yeah.
So we just felt like we had it.
And then she came back and set another world record.
Came out of nowhere.
She came out of nowhere and set a world record. Again, I was like, I don't know how many times these people were going to break world and Olympic records. Did you see the javelin kid, the kid that's the guy that was throwing the javelin, how everybody's hitting like 77, 76, 75, and then all of a sudden one goes 94.
Yes. The pole vaulter from Sweden,
yeah,
world record too. I mean, these were
6.25 meters.
Yeah, I mean, these were some amazing performances. And apparently, Patrick, he was, well, I don't know this for a fact, but he made sure other parts of the body was not hitting it, unlike our dude from but that's another story.
Hey, we're not going to talk about that. We're not even going to touch that at all. Even though it's probably touchable anywhere in America.
Well, I will mention this. Apparently, a porn site or something offered him a contract. Go figure.
Oh, I knew it. I said his Olympic career is over and his porn star career just started.
Who is this? All right, Tinex Black. He's on Twitch. What's going on? Thanks for tuning in, watching this. And we did see the comments earlier. We were just kind of talking, so sorry. Please don't think we were ignoring you. Yeah, this was a great games, and I mean, it was just good because we remember how it was when the Olympics were in Tokyo, and there was no people in the stands. You didn't hear that pride. Like if there was a Japanese athlete that was going on, the fans couldn't represent because they weren't allowed into the stadiums. They wanted to keep down COVID. And now that it was in Paris, it seemed like it was back to normal, and you heard that pride. Everybody in there with their flags waving, wearing their flags into these stadiums, into these arenas. It was cool. It was cool to watch. Some of the best Olympic games I remember seeing. And I mean, like the ones in Rio were cool in 2016. The ones in London were good in 2012. Even going back to 2008 when they were in Beijing. Pretty good. I mean, you had ridiculous performances in those as well. But this one here in Paris just seemed like it was the best combination of everything. Great performances, passion from the fans and from the people. Oh, and another thing, you mentioned soccer. Shout out to the women. They won that gold medal too.
Yep.
So while the men, of course, group stage. Sorry, we're not trying to poo-poo the positivity. So,
and then you got to give shout out to China. You know, I mean,
they tied us for the most gold medals.
For the most gold medals. I think the United States takes the win because they had the most silver medals. But
yeah, we had the most overall. I think we had 100. Don't quote me on this, but I think it was 126.
Yeah, something like that. But you know, I'm sitting here looking at the way all of these countries played, and none of them should be hanging their head low. I mean, every one of them should be carrying themselves with pride, and everything that they did as far as breaking records, winning matches, the way they won. I mean, to me, overall, one of the best Olympics I've ever seen.
One more shout out. Got to go to the French swimmer, Leon Marchand. That dude represented for his country too. So,
and swimming was another one that was good. We didn't even touch on that one. But like, swimming was phenomenal, dude. I was like, between track and field, swimming, I don't know what else I could watch, except for ping pong. Ping pong was freaking sweet.
Dude, Patrick, I was watching everything. I was watching the 3-on-3 basketball. I was watching beach volleyball, regular volleyball.
I forgot about beach volleyball. How can you miss that? I mean, hell, they fight in that one.
Yeah, right. Shoot, I checked out water polo. I said, man, all this is tight right now.
Yeah, the water polo was actually quite interesting. I was actually surprised at how athletic those people were in comparison to like last year. They didn't really seem like they moved very fast, but man, they were getting down the pool. They were getting down the pool this year. I mean, gone.
And let me tell you, Patrick. So I don't know if you ever did this exercise when we were. I mean, we could still do it if there's a pool around and stuff. But I mean, I don't know if you did this like in your younger days. But do you remember seeing exercise that the running back for the Tennessee Titans, Eddie George? He had a workout where he would get in the water and do high knees in the pool. And so I've done that a few times myself. Man, they burn your legs up, man. That water acting as resistance, that is no joke of an exercise for your legs. Yep. And I'm sitting here doing that, and I'm like, whoo, that was a work. I'm tired. I couldn't imagine playing water polo, man. The shape you gotta be.
All right. Hey, how about the synchronized swimming?
Yes.
Good Lord, I like. So they got that. I guess I don't know if it's a new view, but it was pretty cool watching them, like how they keep everything above the water is what has to stay synchronized, right? Yep. And then they have the camera where it's like underneath the water, so you can see what. Man, they look so sloppy underneath the water. But everything is on point above the water. I thought that was really cool, the way they did that. So,
yeah, NBC did a good job of the coverage and having pretty much every angle covered with these. And I mean, as far as I know, they're going to be the ones televising the Olympics over here for the foreseeable future. And they have been the ones who've had it all this time. Oh my goodness. Sorry, I'm actually watching the Dodgers and Brewers, and Freddie Freeman has been on a heater for them. The Dodgers have been playing well. But yeah, so hey, shout out to the Olympics and everything about it, and we'll see what comes up when they are here, when they come to LA in 2028. So, with that, Patrick, let's talk about Jim Harbaugh. So of course, Jim Harbaugh is, I
said, let's do.
So of course, he is the coach of the Los Angeles Chargers now. But NCAA, which, all right, yeah, if y'all know how we feel about the NCAA by now, but they decided to hand down a suspension to Jim Harbaugh. I guess this is a 4-year show cause order, which he will face. he would face a full 1-season suspension if he ever accepts another college football job. Now, that point right there, this is what's wrong. There's so much wrong with this. So much wrong with this. Harbaugh's in the NFL. And because he went back to the NFL, look, if he goes to the NFL and he did a college job and then he returns to the NFL, he's not coming back to college. There's no way he's coming back to college.
No.
And the NCAA continuously does this where the school gets punished and these kids and maybe coaches who had nothing to do, absolutely nothing to do with whatever Jim Harbaugh and his assistant coaches did with this sign stealing stuff, had nothing to do with it. But they get punished because of some dude who ain't even here no more. And so they lay down this punishment to Harbaugh, who doesn't have to worry about anything because he's the coach of the Chargers. So what punishment is here?
And was honorary captain.
What's that?
And was honorary captain.
And right. So then now he's like, nah, I'm not gonna do that. I guess not. Why would he show his face around Michigan at this point?
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, look, he finally was able to win the title with the Wolverines after being there. I guess this first year was 2015. Finally able to win a title, and now the NFL comes calling, and he can go in. He can go in there because hey, he won the title. There's nothing left for him, I guess, to do in Michigan. But you can't tell me his decision to go to the NFL wasn't driven. Like he knew what was coming down the wall. You know.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's just like when Pete Carroll left USC to go to Seattle.
They knew. He knew what was happening. That's the reason why he left. Because he was talking about, even before that, he was talking like, I ain't going anywhere. I'm going to stay right here at Michigan. And then the Chargers came calling and gone. I'm like,
not to stoke up any bad memories for you as an Atlanta Falcons fan, but you remember who Bobby Petrino did?
Right.
I'm sorry. I had to do it. I had to say it, Patrick, because
everybody
walks
out on Atlanta. No. It's like so when Bobby done it, I was like, come on, like seriously. And then when Marcus Mariota done it, I was like, bye. You know, it's like
Petrino was so douchey with it though. Like he's all, I ain't going to Atlanta. The minute Michael Vick caught that suspension and was going to trial for dogfighting, nope. We'll pick Suey, baby.
I know, right? Gone. I was like, at this point, I'm just like, whoever leaves, bye. Now I'm just waiting for Kirk Cousins to leave. And now I do want to say this. It's not that I don't like Kirk Cousins as a person. He's just not a quarterback.
He's not a quarterback.
I mean, I'm really trying to be nice when I say it, but he's just.
It's about as mean as you can get.
I know. Yeah, I guess. I just don't like him as a quarterback. I mean, if he was going to win a Super Bowl, he would have done it in Minnesota.
I'm trying to be nice, but he's not a quarterback. He's not even the job title he says he is.
He's not even the job title he says he is. It's like, I mean, give him a Gatorade bottle and a cup. That's where he needs to be.
Oh boy. Oh.
But he's a nice person, from what I understand, and from what I hear, he seems like a very nice person. A lot of the things that he does for the communities and stuff like that he's played for, but I don't want him as a quarterback.
It's just, it's just the topping off point. Is he ever going to get above this certain level? And so far, he has not been able to get above the I'm a good quarterback, because he can put up stats that says he is one of your better quarterbacks in the league when it comes to the bigger games and having to perform in the playoffs, or maybe even it's a game late in the regular season where you need this win to get into the playoffs or to win a division title. More often than not, it's a no-show. And that's the frustrating part when it comes to some of these quarterbacks. They get paid like they're elite quarterbacks. The performance against inferior opponents says they're elite quarterbacks. But when it comes down to it, there's only a few that has been able to prove, especially lately. There's only been a few that have been able to elevate their team a little bit, or at least make plays to put their teams in winning positions. That is literally like in our hand, like one hand, who has been able to do that. The rest of them, we're still on either a wait and see trial period or a flat out no.
Yeah. And that's what we're getting used to on a year-to-year basis. Is like you said, it's either a flat out no, or I don't know. I just sit and look at Kirk Cousins and I'm like, look, man, if you were going to win a Super Bowl, you would have done it with that team that you had first or second year in Minnesota. You know what I mean? You were there was your opportunity, and you couldn't do it then. So what makes you think you're going to do it in Atlanta? And again, as we always say, we do have to explain this. We do understand that it's not what you've done in the past, but it's what the team expects you to do in the future. We understand that part. I just don't feel he is going to be able to produce what we need to be relevant in the South. Just don't.
I mean, I think that would be the top point. Like, y'all might win the NFC South, and that's because the other teams in there. We have Carolina; they're rebuilding. New Orleans is they're at a staking point too. New Orleans is one of those teams that they're in the worst spot you could be in. You're not quite bad enough to get top draft choices, but you're not quite good enough to get to an elite level. Like, they're just in the middle. And then with Tampa Bay, so this is a team, they made it to the divisional playoff round last year before losing to the Lions. But you wonder what they're gonna come with. I mean, they did keep a lot of their roster intact, and they have Baker Mayfield coming back as the quarterback. You don't know if you're gonna get good or bad Baker Mayfield. And I guess it's kind of the same thing with Atlanta. Whereas if you get a consistent Kirk Cousins and you have a offensive coordinator who decides, I keep on going back to this, but it's so true, decides that he's actually going to use Bijan Robinson as a running back. If you have that, then Atlanta has people that can make noise. And then it just ultimately goes to, can Kirk Cousins make the plays against the teams we would think? And of course, we're going to talk about this in a few weeks when we do the NFL preview. But could Kirk Cousins finally make these plays against the 49ers, against the Lions, or against the Packers, or against the Eagles, the teams that most people would say are your top in the NFC.
Yeah.
And there's always that question with Kirk Cousins, because oftentimes that's enough.
Yeah. And I mean, he's got enough weapons where, to be honest with you, like, he shouldn't have to go out there and throw 55 times a game. He should only have to throw about 28 to possibly 35 on a heavy pass day, 35 passes. You know what I mean? And he does have the ability to go, let's say 24, 25 for 35 with 325 passing yards and 2 touchdowns. He does have that ability. But he also has the ability to go 10 for 35 with 3 interceptions and 108 yards. You know what I mean? I mean, and don't get me wrong. I know everybody's like, well, everybody could have that day. I get it. The problem is that with Kirk Cousins, it happens more than everybody's. You know what I mean? Again, seems like a super nice guy. Hell, I would love to hang out with him. But I'm not picking him up in my fantasy league. Just not doing it. But like, hey, bro, you're really cool, and tell your wife thank you for making nachos, bro. But I'm not drafting you. Just
so
you know what I'm saying.
So look, I'm gonna apologize right now because I mentioned the Falcons and it was gonna turn into a rant. I knew that. My fault on that. So
yeah, and we were supposed to be talking about Jim Harbaugh, and then you you know what? To be honest with you, I have been good. I have not ranted about the Falcons on this show in almost 4 weeks.
Okay.
And you brought them up 3 out of those 4 weeks. I'm like, good.
So that was my fault on that one. What are your thoughts? I know you dove into it a little bit, but what are your thoughts on just everything with this Jim Harbaugh situation? I think it's a hot mess, but it's typical.
It's typical college crap. I mean, it's always the team that gets hurt. I mean, like you said, when Pete Carroll left USC and Reggie Bush had all those things, and then USC gets hit for it. Remember when Leonard Fournette for LSU, and then LSU got hit for it the year after. AJ Green, when he sold his jersey for Georgia, then AJ Green gets suspended, but then Georgia has to deal with the repercussions next year, and AJ Green's gone. Leonard Fournette's gone. Reggie Bush is gone. Pete Carroll gone. Now we're looking at Jim Harbaugh. It's the same old song and dance with NCAA. We're gonna research this for the next 10 years, right? Then we're gonna find out who done it, and then we're gonna look at them and go, shame on you. They're gonna take the rap for it. That just doesn't seem fair. I mean, it doesn't seem fair to Michigan to have to deal with the crap that Jim Harbaugh did, and now he's gone. You know what I mean? I mean, somewhere there has to be a clause in there that says, hey, look, we're going to hire you. We're going to do all of these things. We're going to pay you. But anything that happens to the university, you have to have 50% hand in hand with that. So if they charge us $1 million, you're paying $500,000 of that to the college. There has to be something that says, because, I mean, whatever Jim Harbaugh is doing, whether that's stealing signs or whatever it is that he's doing, he is now off scot-free, and Michigan has to sit there and take the repercussions of that. And it's crap. I mean, but like you said, it's just a hot mess, and it's the same crap over and over again. It's the reason why we put NCAA in one of our top 4 most corrupt systems in all of the world, all of the universe, because it's corrupt. NCAA doesn't even have anything involved in it anymore. And yet they're still pushing their rules.
At that point is, to me, exactly it. They are trying to stay relevant. because college sports has basically passed them by.
Yep.
They've left them in the dust. And when name, image, and likeness, among other rulings, came out, this was that was the opening of the door for the NCAA basically becoming obsolete.
Yep.
The conferences are taking matters into their own hands. They're gonna say, you know what, look, there's all this money to be made. We're gonna add teams to our conferences, and then we're gonna get these whopper size, just gigantic contracts with these stations in excess of billions of dollars, literally billions of dollars.
Yep.
And then all that revenue is going to go to all the teams in the conference, and then the college football playoff. All of a sudden, for the longest time, they didn't want to do a playoff, and now they finally decided they were going to do 4, and now we're just up to 12. After just like that, we're on 12 teams now. We didn't even go to 8. We just skipped 8. We just went from 0 to 4
to 12.
And then we're like, well, what do they want to do? Do they want to go to 6? Do they want to go to 8? No, 12.
12. And then give it 4 years, and we'll be at 32.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Like,
and then in 12 more years after that, it's going to be a participation trophy. Everybody's in it.
It's gonna be like March Madness.
Yeah,
You're just gonna have 14. Playoffs gonna start in November, dude. We're gonna have 2 months of a regular season, and starting in November, bam, playoff.
No, they might even take away the regular season. They'd be like, let's just do 8 games regular season in conference, and then we'll go out of conference for all of these games. That would actually kind of make it interesting. In conference games and stay in conference, and then go to out of conference games in the playoff.
Yeah, I agree. I think that could be pretty interesting. Let's just start using all of these throwaway bowl games and make it relevant as well.
Why do we need just get rid of all the bowl games and just do a tournament? I mean, might as well. I mean, at this point, you might as well, because half of those teams make it to a playoff, and half of them won't. The ones that don't normally will get put out in the first round. But hey, at least everybody's in the playoffs.
Oh boy. It's just, yeah, this whole thing with Harbaugh is because they started investigating this before last year, like, and that might be generous. It might have been before that. I don't know.
It could have been. I don't remember when they started. I know they made comments about it last year, and that's when everybody was like, because if you recall, they were talking about it during the playoffs, and they're like, well, Harbaugh's got to go through all of this and this and this and this, and do you think he'll be back? And you know, I made that comment to you. I was like, now that he's won the championship with all this crap that he's looking at, he's gone. And you were like, dude, we saw that 3 months ago when everything was going that way anyway.
He got suspended for the first 3 games of the regular season last year. So I guess I guess it got started, or the investigation started in that off season. I would think, but like I said, I think I'm probably being generous with that, because it's the NCAA here, and they probably started investigating it in 2021, but they just decided now they're going to come up with a punishment. And so,
as soon as Michigan announced him as the head coach, they started investigating.
They're like, this dude's dirty.
This dude's dirty. He's coming from San Francisco. We know he's dirty. He's done some crap up there, and then now, okay, yeah, go ahead and start investigating him. And by the time he leaves, we'll hit him. All the stuff came out, and he's like, "Who's this?" And they're like, "Not you, Harbaugh.
LA?
Even though you're gone,
We going out to LA?
Yeah, you
What?
understand? Bye.
Yeah,
Hey, look, hey, don't worry about all this paperwork. We'll get Michigan to file that away for you. No problem.
yeah.
I'm like, dude, come on.
Garbage. It's
He is
garbage.
garbage. Then it bounced out. But we said that about Pete Carroll when he left. Because as soon as that hit the fan, wait, hold on, I take that back. As soon as it was about to hit the fan, he was gone. He ain't thinking none of that on me. Gone, and then it went on everybody, and he's over there going, "What?" Chewing on that gum. Never gave it a chance.
Working on that gum, dude. So, I guess, Patrick, too, with us talking about college football, man, that brings us to our next topic, and that is the preseason rankings. Now, caveat here. Y'all have heard us talk about the preseason rankings, and we will say, look, they are rankings. It's not how the season is going to go. This is just a forecast. Yep. That is it. So getting upset about the rankings, although many people will get upset about the rankings, getting upset about the rankings really they don't matter. This is just what they think based off of what came back from the year previous. I guess performance from last year also has something to do with it as well. And
with 12 teams getting in, who freaking cares anymore?
Right. I mean, there's going to be more teams who are going to have a chance in here. So with those caveats, looking at the top 10, Georgia is ranked number 1. And then
should have worn my red shirt. But now I wore my burnt orange shirt for you because you're paying. But hey, Georgia's number 1. Ow!
So check me on this, Patrick, because I'm gonna read off. This is off the top of my head here.
Let me get there.
All right. So this is the top 10 off the top of my head. So of course, y'all are number 1. I think it's Ohio State number 2, Oregon 3. We're number 4. We is in Texas. Yep. Alabama's 5, and then number 6. That's where I got lost. I know Michigan's 9, Florida State's 10, Penn State's 8,
Notre Dame is 7, and Ole Miss is 6.
Yeah, Ole Miss is 6.
Yeah.
So that is okay. Ole Miss and Penn State, they're comical to me. I'm sorry. We've been waiting for.
Truthfully, so is Michigan.
Huh?
And truthfully, so is Michigan. They lost their entire team, and yet they're still ranked 9th. I'm like, I will say, just looking at this, I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those top 10 teams, and possibly 6 of those top 10 teams will not finish top 10 by the end of the year.
We've been waiting for Ole Miss and Penn State for at least the last 5 years. At least.
And they're identical teams. Because Ole Miss can't beat Georgia and can't beat Alabama, and Penn State can't beat Ohio State and Michigan.
Right. And until they find a way to beat one of those teams, whether this is in a regular season game or maybe perhaps the conference championship, they're not going to get there. Look, I think so. I guess if we're going to compare those two teams and ask who would you trust to maybe make that step, for me, as down as I am on Ole Miss, I would pick them over Penn State because I still think there's a gear, and this is on the coaches here. I still think there is a gear. I still think there is some improvement Lane Kiffin can actually make. James Franklin, I just don't see him doing it. James Franklin, to me, is that, I hate this saying, he is what he is, coach. He is that person.
Out of him.
Yeah, like he and what he is a person when they are playing the other teams in the Big Ten, not named Michigan or Ohio State. He's going to be aggressive. The play calling is going to be more aggressive. They're going to take more chances. They're going to go deeper with their passes. And on defense, they're going to come with more blitzes. They're going to take more chances.
Yeah.
Instead, what you see when they do play Michigan or Ohio State is very conservative play calling. The quarterback probably doesn't throw a pass. If it's 15 yards down the field, that's a miracle. There's no aggressive play calling whatsoever. No downfield passing, no stretching the field. Not even a creative end around or anything like that. No type of trick play. There's just nothing that's coming. It's very, very vanilla. Not that vanilla is bad with ice cream.
Yeah.
It is bad.
On a Klondike bar.
Yeah.
I like vanilla in a Klondike bar. But like you said, so it's like this. This is why. So it's hard to trust either one of these teams, to be honest with you. But here's the thing: is now that Nick Saban is not in Alabama, I would feel more comfortable about that game against Alabama with Ole Miss. I don't see Penn State doing anything against Michigan or Ohio State that warrants me going, let's look at that. Now, I mean, many times I said it on the field. I'm like, look, man, Penn State looks good, but then they get to Ohio State and they lose. And, you know, that one year where I was like, dude, I got Penn State. I'm going with them. And they almost beat Ohio State. Almost. Remember that year? Mm-hmm. At that point, that's when I was like, and if you recall this conversation, I was like, look, dude, I'll never pick them again because they should have beat Ohio State that year. Hell, they were up by 14 and they still couldn't win. Right. So when I look at Penn State, I'm just like, I don't see it. I don't see it until I'm proven wrong or until I see the product on the field take out Michigan and take out Ohio State. I don't think it's happening. At least when I look at Lane Kiffin and I'm looking at Ohio State, I'm looking at an offensive-minded, offensive-powered
Ole Miss.
Ole Miss. Did I say Mississippi State?
You said Ohio State.
Well, Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss, I see a higher-powered offense, and when I look at that kind of offense going against Alabama, I give that more credit. And now that Nick Saban's gone, I don't have to worry about the whole Nick Saban effect, which is always a problem with Lane Kiffin and Kirby Smart. It's always been a problem, and it's always going to be a problem because they cannot get past him because of the dumb, boneheaded things that they do. Lane Kiffin will go for it. Never in his life will he go for a fourth down. He will always punt it off, leave it for the next play. Go against Nick Saban. 4th and 40 on his own 10, he goes for it. I'm like, never do that, dude. And then here's Kirby Smart. Aggressive. He'll send blitzes all day long, but then all of a sudden, plays Alabama, and you see the most conservative defense that you'll ever watch in college football ever. And I'm like, you didn't blitz one time in that entire game. Not one time. You never spotted your linebackers, and your corners were blown out of the water because they gave 7 yards cushion. And I'm like, they never give cushion. Your linebackers are always spying, and you always have somebody on a blitz in any other game. Playing Nick Saban, they don't do it. They do not do what they do best to win games, and they lose. Happens every freaking year. It irritates me.
I think with Georgia too on the offensive end. So you remember I was telling you about a conversation I had with Bear, and I think it was the year 2021 in the SEC championship game. Of course, y'all won the championship. Y'all beat them in the national championship game that year. But in that SEC championship, the discussion was whether or not Georgia came in lackadaisical, just like they had it in the bag. And I said, no, that's not what happened. Georgia didn't. Number one, Georgia's not going to go in there overlooking Alabama. That to me is impossible. That's unfathomable.
Yeah.
But what did happen in my eyes in that game, the number one, Georgia was up 10-0 in that game. A lot of people forget that, but Georgia started up 10-0. And then Bama hit the big play from Bryce Young to Jamison Williams. Big play touchdown. All of a sudden, Georgia decided they have to throw the ball. Like you said, they did not do what it got them there. What was more successful? Georgia is a power running football team, and then it's play action passes off of that. All of a sudden, when that big play happened, of course, Georgia's still up. They're up 10-7 now. But all of a sudden, in that next drive, it was 3 Stetson Bennett throws, 3 and out. All the momentum now is on Bama's favor, and then it snowballed. And going back to your point about Kirby Smart not doing those things when it came to playing against Bama and Nick Saban, sometimes you just have to say, show me you can stop me. This is what I'm going to do. This is what I have been doing. Show me you can stop me. I don't think you can, because I have a huge offensive line and 3 good running backs. And sooner or later, you're not going to want to run up against me when it gets to the 3rd and 4th quarter, because we're going to keep coming.
Yep.
And you just have to dare a team to stop you. Who cares if they know what you're coming with?
As long as you can beat them, it don't matter. I mean, it's just like when Alabama played Michigan. Everybody knew. Everybody knew what Michigan was coming with. How do you stop it?
Yeah.
How do you stop it? And you couldn't. Sometimes you dare the other team. It doesn't matter what caliber they are. If you can match that caliber, it doesn't matter. That's what I never understood. I mean, and luckily, we came back and was able to keep that under control. But it should have never came to that. I mean, we were, and I'm talking about Georgia. Georgia was the dominant team all season. How do you not allow a touchdown until the 10th game of the season?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That was a dominant Georgia team. And Alabama comes out there, drive 1, throws a touchdown. I'm like, no, it's not how we play. We haven't played like that all season, and now all of a sudden you want to play like that? I'm like, that doesn't make sense. So I don't know. I'm sitting here. I always had that problem with everybody that came from Nick Saban's camp, and that's the reason why I had dubbed it the Nick Saban effect, because whatever it is, whatever is the problem, Nick Saban, when he's across the field, it baffles them on how to beat them.
It makes you panic.
Yeah.
And in that particular game, Patrick, like that was just a big play. Like it wasn't even that play just flipped everything, because Kirby Smart just said, we're just going to throw the ball. We're not going to run the ball anymore. That big play happened, like in my estimation, without actually being there in the stadium or being on the sideline. What happened there was, we got to score points. Yep. We have to score as many points as possible, because if they can get that big play, which came on a busted coverage, by the way. I mean, Jamison Williams was wide open in the middle of that field. But
which should have never happened, which goes on the whole part of me telling you linebackers that aren't spying. What? You've been spying all year, and yet you don't spy on that one play? I'm like,
you picked apart, and then and it's over. And then it is a panic move. Like Lane Kiffin goes in panicking on the Nick Saban effect.
Oh yeah. He gets it's like as soon as the week prior is over, that dude goes into panic mode, like, oh my god, what am I going to do on fourth down? You're going to go for it like you always do. It's not. I mean, I was sitting there watching it last year when Ole Miss was playing Alabama, and I think Lane Kiffin was like, "Ooh, we're going to come out aggressive and we're going to put it on them." And then, what was it? 4th and 11. No, it was like 4th and 3. It was like 4th and 3, and they got it the first time. Then they got it the second time. Then it was like 4th and 11, and it was pick 6.
And it's one thing to be aggressive, but we got to be smart. We got to be calculated about the
aggressive. Don't be dumb aggressive. Be smart aggressive. Look, you just got 4th down twice. Look, let's punt. Let's give them a long field to go on. Don't put them in your own side of the field where they only have to go 40 yards for a touchdown. Hell, at that point, they're already in field goal range.
Exactly.
Man. So I don't know. We'll see how this season goes, but like for Lane Kiffin, just do what you do best. You're an offensive-minded head coach. Just do what you do best. You have a high-powered offense. You're always going to have a high-powered offense. Get your defense in check and see where it goes. I mean, your offense can outscore most of those teams and should be fine. It's going to be a very weird season for him going into it, but I mean, for the most part, minus Georgia, Alabama, LSU, and maybe Missouri, you should be able to outscore everybody else. Even if you don't have a defense, you should be able to outscore them.
Well, all right, Patrick. Well, hey, quick note: in 2 weeks, college football preview. So we're going to look at all these conferences and give our predictions. And of course, it's going to be fun because you have super conferences. So
that'd be Jersey Day.
Yep, that'd be Jersey Day. Absolutely.
Jersey Day. That's the way I know it. I don't look at it as college football breakdown. I look at it as Jersey Day.
Jersey Day. I got you. Well, on that note, Patrick, we have a few minutes left before we get out. Can you tell us what you got going on with Bro Epic?
So we have some really cool shows that came out with the Blitz Ball, and I think that one came out about 3 weeks ago. Then we had a hide and seek challenge that came out, and that one did pretty well on social media. So that one came out about a week and a half ago, and we just finished filming over the week our adult versions of Home Run Derby, NFL Challenge, and a 3-point challenge. So look out for our 1v1, our Bro Epic 1v1s, and I'll let Brantley host that show. So that one's going to be a wild ride. I can tell you, it's going to be a wild ride. And then we got some really cool episodes coming up here in the next couple of months. You know, you're coming down, and we got the U-Ball water challenge that we're going to do, and then we got flag football coming up as well. So look out for those. It's going to be a lot of fun, and we have a lot of fun filming them. So hope y'all enjoy them.
Yes, sir. And along with Bro Epic, Breath of Fresh Air, we're going to take over this fall. So be on the lookout for that. We are coming, and whether you're ready for it or not, we're still coming. So.
Game day. College game day.
Yeah.
Watch your back.
So with that, y'all, that will conclude this edition of the Breath of Fresh Air webcast. That is what we are breathing on for tonight. Y'all make sure y'all go to the Breath of Fresh Air YouTube channel, smash that subscribe button, and follow the Breath of Fresh Air Facebook page. Until then, everybody enjoy the rest of this week. As we had discussed, football is coming up. We're in the last few days before preview shows happen, and then the games will actually start getting played. So everybody enjoy the rest of the week, and we will see you next week. Take it easy.
Deuces.